What's up, YouTube? Big Dog here for another edition of Big Dog Movie Reviews. One thing I would like to get out of the way is I apologize for the mess everywhere that you can probably see and everywhere you can't see because it's not on camera. Like I said before, I'm renting a house with several roommates, and what's considered my bedroom is in the basement, and it started flooding the other day, so we had to move everything, all of my possessions pretty much out of my room, and then we just threw it in this adjacent room for the time being. Yeah, it was just a mess and ordeal. It all happened at like 1 a.m. I was up till like 3:30. Closed the door because there's been fans blowing out underneath my carpet for the past few days constantly to try and dry it out, which it's getting there. But, you know, bear with me. So just apologize for the mess. Mother Nature can't stop the YouTube grind, though. So, same as always, likes, dislikes the movie. It's a big one. It's a very much talked about one. It's Joker with Joaquin Phoenix. Spoilers beware. There's a spoiler or two in here, so if you haven't seen it, do not watch this. Wait till after if you care that much. If you don't care, go ahead, watch it right now. But anyway, same as always, likes, dislikes for Joker. Soundtrack was very good. It fit the tone of the movie very well, with a particular like cello tone in the beginning of many scenes. I really like that. It really set the tone for the upcoming scene, in my opinion. So that was a very standout part, but the soundtrack as a whole was also very well done. Every song worked very well where it was placed, and it's just, I think it worked really well, and it really captured the mood of the film. Joaquin Phoenix destroyed the role, absolutely nailed it, no questions asked. He should win an award, in my opinion, honestly. It was one of the most believable movie performances I've ever seen. At least be nominated for an award. If he isn't nominated for this, I'd be a little jaw-dropped. Like I've said before, I work in a movie theater, and that's how I watch majority of my movies. But I was cleaning a theater that Joker just got out of, and I heard a guy was saying that Joaquin Phoenix was not the man for this movie. And I was on the clock, so I couldn't really say anything to him that I wanted to. But I just couldn't disagree more. Joaquin Phoenix nailed the role, and it's no questions asked. Should at least be nominated for an award. It was, like I said, one of the most believable performances I've ever seen. The story was very well done. Joaquin's character, whose name is Arthur Fleck is the character name. Arthur's pretty messed up at the beginning of the movie. He's not an insane dude. But with that being said, as the movie goes on and on, he just gets more and more messed up in the head. And I think I kind of just, in a very twisted way, enjoyed watching the downfall. Because in my mind, when I think of the Joker, I think of someone who's severely mentally unstable. And this definitely did a good job of portraying how just unstable Arthur was. It was almost disturbing. It was definitely a different kind of movie. Not a lot of movies I've seen. I've seen a couple kind of along these lines, but not very often a movie like this comes around. It's like pretty slow paced, a lot of talking, but it had its fair. It had a few scenes where things kind of picked up a bit, but definitely a slow paced movie, I would say it is. But I enjoy the psychological movies in a way, like Joker and Ordinary People is one I've seen where it's heavily centered around psychology. But it was just very stick out from the crowd, and I really like that. Excuse me. And one more thing I liked about it is like how down to earth it was, in a sense. Excuse me. That ham and cheese sandwich, I'll tell you. But it's down to earth, and what I mean by that is Joker didn't have like a master plan to destroy the world like many supervillains do, and excuse me again. It's like it's hard. I have a hard time even calling him like a supervillain in this movie. He just was like a guy who did something not really expecting to happen what happened, and he just kind of rolled with it. He did something, a lot of people liked it, and he was just rolled with it and kept on chugging along with what he did. Which like I said, it's down to earth. It's not like he's in the movie plotting out how to take over the world or how to brainwash everyone. It was very down to earth and like very believable in a sense. But that was it for the likes, and now for the dislikes. There's a scene where Arthur climbs inside of a fridge. That's never really explained. It's like literally a 45 second, 1 minute scene where he's just pulling everything out of a fridge and then climbs in it. Never really explained that, nor do I know why he was doing that. Where was Arthur when his mom was in the Arkham State Hospital? He finds out that he was adopted and his mom was mentally unstable and in the Arkham Asylum for a while. They never really explained where Arthur went for that time or where he was. I'd kind of like to know where he ended up while she was in there. They never explained that in the slightest. How Penny got out of Penny Fleck, his mother. How Penny got out of Arkham. They never said how she got out. I'm assuming it's like she answered some questions right on a test for mental stability and they set her free. But I would have just liked for them to say something on that. Anything would have done, just a quick phrase. But that was left out. The ending wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad ending, but there was an extra scene which I didn't think was necessary. What it should have ended with is with him dancing on top of the cop car, in my opinion, with all of his followers cheering him on. I think that's where it should have ended. But instead there's an extra scene after that. But, like, again, it wasn't bad, but I just think it would have been better if they just cut it with him dancing on the cop car. There's a girl that seems to have a love interest in him, and they seem to be a couple, but you find out that he was imagining her there the entire time and that she was never actually... Like, the girl is real, but he imagined her in many situations where she wasn't. I felt you could have done without it and felt it was unnecessary, although I do see where they're trying to convey just how crazy he really is. He's making up situations in his head, which they touch on in the beginning of the movie, how vivid of these things he imagines. But I just felt this was kind of unnecessary. I think there was other ways they could have said how unstable he was and just how vivid of an imagination he can get lost in. But I felt it could have been just as good of a movie without these parts altogether, not even with replacements. If you were to cut these scenes out as a whole, I felt it would be just as good. But if you could replace them with something that wasn't... I just felt it was kind of like a last-minute idea is all. Which, like, it still kind of worked, but I think if they really put their time into it, they could have came up with something much better than that. But more or less, my main complaint is I'm just kind of left with a lot of questions, as I've just stated to you, all my questions, where was he when his mom was in the asylum, how his mom got out of the asylum, why he was in the fridge. They just never really explained a lot of that. But nonetheless, it was a pretty solid movie. The likes, there may have been slightly more dislikes than likes, but the weight of each like is heavier than the weight of each dislike. So with that being said, I believe Joker deserves a 7 out of 10. I've known about this movie for a while, for like months and months, maybe even a year or so now. And I was pretty excited and I had high expectations, and I would say it met my expectations when it didn't exceed them, but 7 out of 10 is definitely nothing to shrug your shoulders at, in my opinion. It's to the point where I would recommend you go out of your way to see it. It's definitely worth the watch, and you don't wait around for nothing to do one day. Make a point to see this plant, just make a point to see it. Make it a point in your itinerary. I did hear someone mention that they want a new Batman movie and have Joaquin Phoenix's Joker in it, which I can't say I totally agree with. I think this version of Joker works very well in a solo film, but if you were to put him as the main antagonist in a Batman movie, I don't think it would work that well at all. So that was just something I heard, and I thought, it got me thinking, like, could this work in another movie? I don't believe it could. This needs to stay as a standalone movie. I don't even want to see a sequel, honestly. Because, honestly, when I see sequels of movies I like, it makes me a little uneasy, because sequels are rarely as good or better than the original. So just cut this off right here. We know the story of the Joker now, at least through Todd Phillips' eyes. Like I said, there's been a lot of Jokers over the year. This one really stands out as a good performance due to Joaquin's amazing performance. But the whole story as a whole is definitely a standout story. And so that's about really all I got to say. Joker, 7 out of 10. I would recommend you go out of your way to watch it. You'll enjoy it. But with that being said, that's a review. It's going in the books. It's going in the book I got. It's going in my book. Bookie book. But tell me what you thought in the comment section. Whether you agree with me, disagree, or I hit the nail right on the head, let me know. Give it a like while you're at it. If you're into movies, subscribe to the channel. I post movie reviews every week or so right now. I'm doing my best. Like I said, college student. Every week or so, it's been pretty easy to get a video out. And if you want to go the extra mile and do your boy, and you really want to get in touch with the channel, do follow the corresponding Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd channels at BigDogMR79. I will put that on the screen as always at the end of the video. But until then, that's all I gotta say. I'll see you guys in the next movie review. Until then, change the world.